ভুলো না তুমি ভুলো না ভুলো না ভুলো না সতত থেকো হৃদয় কমলে সতত থেকো হৃদয় কমলে সতত থেকো হৃদয় কমলে চারিদিক আলোকিত করে চারিদিক আলোকিত করে তুমি ভুলো না আস্তা চলে যেতা পান গেছে চলে আস্তা চলে যেতা পান গেছে চলে পুনঃ ফিরে আছে মনিল মাঝারে আস্তা চলে চলে মাঝারে যে ফুল ঝরিয়া গেছে তরুণ তরে যে ফুল ঝরিয়া গেছে তরুণ তরে তার সুরভি বাতাসে ঘরে তার সুরভি বাতাসে ঘরে তুমি ভুলো না তুমি ভুলো না যে মিশিয়ে কদায় আসি চলে গেছে দূরে যে মিশিয়ে কদায় আসি চলে গেছে দূরে চলে গেছে দূরে চলে গেছে কদায় আসি চলে গেছে দূরে সে উড়ে গেছে তোমার মুনিল মাঝারে তোমার লীলা চলে আলোকে আঁধারে তোমার লীলা চলে আলোকে আঁধারে আলো ছায়া দিয়ে রেখে চলে রে ভুলো না ভুলো না সতত থেকো হৃদয় কমলে সতত থেকো হৃদয় কমলে চারিদিক আলোকিত করে তুমি ভুলো না তুমি Guru Nam.
I express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Manisha Kulkarni for a beautiful performance based on the complete ragas, Raga Shivaranjani and Raga Darbadi Kannada. Thank you, madam. The songs has really left us with a spiritual vibration. So thank you again, madam, for this beautiful presentation. Now, with the program, I shall now invite Professor Kapil Kapoor, Chairman, Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Shimla, to deliver his keynote address.
Before that, sir, 1 minute, sir.
Yes.
You request to everyone to on their camera.
Okay. Okay. So, as requested by convener, Acharya Divya Chetanananda Vaduta, you please, all our dignitaries, I'm requesting you all to please open your video so that we can have a picture with all of participants, all the participants in this webinar. So please open your video.
Again, you request to everyone.
Okay.
Yes.
So please open your video, all of you, so that we can have a beautiful picture of this webinar.
Are we ready now?
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes, sir. Please, sir, I invite you to deliver your keynote address.
Rini ji and all the distinguished teachers of universities and distinguished friends, very people who are deeply into the work of Anandamurtijii. I must say that Rini ji, it is very unfair that after the beautiful rendering of two songs by Manisha Kulkarni ji, you should ask a person to speak in prose. It will be quite a contrast. And also, I don't have that voice. I don't have that voice quality. And I don't even have that spiritual, appearance that Manisha had when she was, even otherwise, I'm sure she has all the time. But when she was rendering those songs, there was a kind of spirituality, an aura of spirituality. I must bless her, congratulate her. I have to entreat you to put up with some prose in coarse voice. I have been, as I said, associated with Swamiji for almost a quarter of a century, and been practically in the first 15, 20 years, I was practically traveling with him everywhere, wherever he organized things. And at that time when we started, there were two kinds of reactions. First of all, there was ignorance. A lot of people just didn't know that there was great work that Anandamarg did in Bengal in countering certain ideologies of violence. And the price they paid, their Avaduts, the price they paid for their work with their life, a large number of them were killed also. So many people were, hesitant to associate themselves with Anandamarg, thinking that Anandamarg is only a violent organization. That was the beginning. But things have changed. Truth has now surfaced. And people know that Anandamarg, like Ramakrishna Mission, like Arya Samaj, and like Brahmo Samaj, it is one of the socio-philosophical movements of the time, which India has produced in a fairly large number in the 19th and 20th century. And because of the presence of the alien rule and the reaction of the Indian mind, many movements like the ones that I have mentioned took shape. And Anandamurtijii is one of them, a 20th century, of course, but the impulse and the inspiration is centuries old, not 1 century, but centuries old. As we are all aware that our civilization has had a very checkered history of violence, of invasion, country, wrong with our country. But in one of the girls' universities, where I happened to be luckily an advisor for 3-4 years, it was a 7,000 girls were studying there from class 1 to PhD. It was a rural university, rural area, and rural people are not that much polluted as the city people, as the folk people, urban people. And there, I used to hold large congregations of sometimes 1,000 girls sitting in the hall. And I used to tell them that your teachers, because the teachers generally came from JNU or Delhi University or Jadavpur and all that your teachers keep telling you about how much is wrong with our country, how much is wrong. I want you to ask yourself only one question. If we were as bad as we are portrayed to be, then how is it that we are the only civilization that has lived and is still living alive in 10,000 years? You know, there was a data, UNESCO data at one time, that there have been 46 human civilizations, 46. All 45 perished. But the Hindu civilization, the civilization of India, is the only one that continues to live. So I said, when you count your evils, also try to find out the strength that makes your civilization alive. And today, once again, you must be also having the same feeling that in so many ways today, India is again leading the world, you know, and it is in any number of fields. Even if you see in the Japan Olympics, the first, not because we did not know writing, not because of that, because Ashoka's inscriptions, they come in 5 scripts. 5 scripts. In 4th century BC, you had 5 scripts. And the 7th century BC, Ashtadhyayi of Panini uses the word lipi, script, 20 times. So we are not oral because we don't know writing. Orality is an alternative culture. Oral culture is an alternative culture, alternative to the written culture. See the difference. In the oral culture, you store things in the mind. You create knowledge in the mind. You store it in the mind. And when you communicate orally, you are inscribing the knowledge in the mind of the hearer. You are not passing him a slip of paper or a copy or a book that later on you can read. When orally you transfer, you are transferring your idea into the mind of the hearer. And that's why, because of this orality, the Katha Pravachan Parampara, where great thinkers like Adi Shankara went round the country 3 times, talked to villagers in languages and in languages of the people, because there are only 5 Prakrits. Don't believe this survey which says there are 1526 languages. You try to making you feel afraid. How can we communicate? There are only 5 Prakrits in this country. 5 Prakrits. And the northwest, the southern Dravidian, then from Odisha to Assam, then the Sino-Tibetan, Manipur and others, and then the Dardic Himalayan languages right up to Srinagar. So we have only 5. And it is easy to communicate. People who travel, the sadhus who travel, the traders who travel, they communicate very easily. So this knowledge tradition has been disseminated orally, and even today, Katha Pravachan, Parampara, Katha Pravachan orally. So Indians are among the most knowledgeable people in the world. If you want to test it, don't talk to a university professor, because university professor is a disaffiliated person. He knows neither the West nor India. No, he is somewhere in between a Trishanku. But sit down with a rickshaw on a tea shop, Ask him fundamental questions. Hey, bhai sahab, life kya hai? What is life? What do you think of life? And hear him. And you will see the immense density of knowledge that is in the minds of the people. I had a car mechanic, a Muslim boy. I had an old ambassador. You remember there was an ambassador which used to be started by a handle, by the handle. So I had the old ambassador, and that ambassador was generally ill. Second, third day it had some ailment. So I used to go to the mechanic boy. One day he told me, Babuji, isko ab chalta kar do. Chalta kar do. I said, why? कि जिसकी पैद होती है उसका खात्मा होता है. That which is born has to die. He was speaking Bhagavad Gita, and he didn't know that he was speaking Bhagavad Gita. How did that knowledge reach that man? Because of the oral mode of communication and oral. And the oral knowledge culture is the most democratic knowledge culture. Because all you need is an ear. And God has put eyelids, but there are no earlids. All you have to do is to listen. You don't need to read. आपको reading नहीं आनी चाहिए, writing नहीं आनी चाहिए. सुनने की इच्छा होनी चाहिए, and you gain knowledge, and you become knowledgeable. So it is the most democratic form of knowledge. I'm sorry, I don't know why I went into this. Because Anandamurtijii is a multiple knowledge. He is a master. He has written 5,000 songs in 18 languages. Imagine, 18 languages. For people like us, it is difficult to master even one language. And writing a song according to meter, a metrical song, it is a very difficult, innovative mind, because he reorders. He has, for example, reordered our caste system by beginning with the Shudra, then Kshatriya, then Brahman, and then Vaishya. You see, this is his order, and this is his social cycle. And he explains it. Why this is the social cycle? Social cycle of growth. Social cycle of growth, and contrary to other reason, you see, it is from the left to the right, there is a movement of specialization from a general vast ability to do various things. Gradually there is specialization. So he reorders things. The Panchakosh theory that we have, for example, Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, Manomaya Kosh, and then the Vijnanamaya Kosh, and then Anandamaya Kosh, 5. He reorders it. In fact, he has different terms. He has different Kamamaya Kosh. He begins with Kamamaya Kosh. Now, Kamamaya Kosh, people may begin to, we people need to think. We who are now students of Anandamurtijii, we need to think why he orders things differently, and why he orders them in the way he does. Kamamaya, because basically, he belongs to Prema Bhakti. His worship is in music. He worships is a Vaishnava worship, and it is a worship in music. And it is Prema Bhakti the bhakti which was propounded in Vrindavan by Rupa Goswami, and his brother, two persons, Rupa Goswami, I'm forgetting. You have to forgive an 81-year-old man for memory lapses. You see, memory lapses. So he is prema bhakti and kama may kosha. Kama does not only mean sex. Kama does not mean sex. Kama means affinity. Affinity. Be feeling one with the other. Feeling one with the other. In fact, when Adi Shankara says Brahma Atam एकत्व बोधेन, का जो मेल है वो भी प्रेम का मेल है. इवन ब्रह्म और आत्मा, आत्मा और ब्रह्म का जो मेल है, इकट्ठा होना जो है, it is also an expression of kama. And if you read Abhinav Gupta, he describes Shringar Ras as a relationship between two pure, young, beautiful individuals. Pure, young, beautiful human beings. And it is a relationship which is a relationship of the soul, not of the body. Not of the body. So, Kama Maya Kosha. In fact, the whole cosmos, the whole world hangs on Kama. The stars hold each other, with their power in the cosmos. The stars hold each other. So, like that, there are many things that can be said about. There is no end to what one can, say, expound about Anandamurtijii. I am a fond and a serious admirer of the Ananda Sutram. Here, the word, the title itself demands attention. Ananda, Anandamaya Kosha, ultimate state of human liberation. जब आपको जिसको हम मोक्ष या मुक्ति कहते हैं, वो that is the state of Anand. Anand is not eating Golgappas. You see, of course there is Golgappa Ananda and there is Brahmananda, but the Ananda, the spiritual Ananda which the Yoga Sutra says the entire trajectory of Yoga Sutra moves towards that Ananda, that Samadhi which is Nirvikalpa, that kind of Samadhi. So that oneness. So I am only speculating on why he begins his Panchakosh with Kamamaya. And you can go on. Then Manomaya Kosha, and then Ati Manas. This is a different category. Ati Manas. That is beyond a faculty which is beyond human. You see, sometimes, for example, you have intuitions. I mean, you suddenly have an intuition, and that no, stay away from here, stay away, and you make somebody stay away, and after the person moves away, the roof falls or the building falls. No, how does that come to you? That is Atimanasa ability, Atimanasa. And the pursuit, because the goal of life, human being, according to Anandamurtijii, a human being, man ka panchi hai, man ka. A human being is a man of the heart. And his desire, his fulfillment is to become one with Brahman, Paramashiva, Brahman. And you become that. How you become that? All the processes of Chetana, of consciousness, of jnana, of knowledge, of going into what the great minds have thought and said. All these things may lead to you into an ability to do this. I think, as I said, there are so many things. I put him in the tradition of Chaitanya and this Vivekanand, Shankar, Chaitanya, Vivekanand, Aurobindo. When we count modern Indian philosophers like Aurobindo and Vivekanand, I think we should count Anandamurtijii also as a modern Indian philosopher, and he is a Samadvayavadi because the which people think are independent systems. He sees a continuity and oneness in them all. I'm reminded of Vivekananda is very beautiful that there are three kinds of knowledge. You see, there are three kinds of knowledge. There is, for example, political knowledge, and the political knowledge is instrumented through slogans and shouting and all that. And then there is a secular knowledge. Secular knowledge is instrumented through swords, through dandas, ladai jhagde se. Secular knowledge is through that. And the philosophical knowledge, spiritual knowledge is instrumented through silence. Silence. Because to reach the truth, as the yoga says, the agent, the object, and the instrument have become one, and they merge only in total silence. When you go inside you, introvert yourself. So therefore, I think I will, Swamiji, if you allow me, I will stop. I think I have taken more time, but as I said too much, there is a very strong thinker, has published so much, and any serious scholar has to read all his work. He is a linguist also, and he has
Economics.
strange queries he makes. Why girls are named like rivers? A wonderful question he asks in his book on Varna Vijnana. What interesting insights हैं उनके. Thank you very much. Namaskar for listening patiently to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Kapil Kapoor, for your valuable speech, your experience. From your experience, you have told us so many things that you have rightly spoken that Sri Anandamurtijii is a multiple thinker and master of so many disciplines. Okay, and you have also told us about the knowledge-based tradition in India, and also you have obviously told praiseworthy words in on Ananda Sutram, and also you have described Anandamurtijii as social thinker, having transcendental mind, and he has put the ideologies together. Okay, and so with this, and lastly, you have spoken of the spiritual practice, that is the object and instrument becoming one. Okay, and it is in the silence it can be felt. So with this, I want to thank you from core of my heart.
You have said it better than I did.
No, sir. It's
In your summary.
Your interpretation. I'm just telling you. Okay. So we are very much enriched by your words. So thank you, sir, for your illuminous lecture. Now, namaskar, sir. Now I shall proceed with the program. I shall now request our chief guest, Professor Gangadhar Panda, Vice Chancellor, Kolham University, Jharkhand, to deliver his speech. So, Professor Gangadhar Panda, sir, please enlighten.
परम आदरणीय स्वामी जी, दिव्य चेतनानंद जी, अवधूत जी, और आज के हमारे माननीय आचार्य, जिनको मैं सदियों से जानता हूं, लेकिन व्यक्तिगत परिचय नहीं हो पाया है, आज उनको आज ये स्क्रीन पर देखकर मुझे बड़ा उल्लास हो रहा है। मैं दिल्ली में तो 6 साल रहा हूं, लेकिन कभी मुलाकात नहीं हो पाई है। और आपको मैं बताऊं कि मैं भारत सरकार में जब उप शिक्षा सलाहकार था, डिप्टी एजुकेशनल एडवाइजर, तब हमारे सेंट्रल संस्कृत बोर्ड से प्रस्ताव पारित हुआ था कि जेएनयू में अवश्य संस्कृत विषय रहे। ये एक प्रसिद्ध विश्वविद्यालय है, आपने उसको मूर्त रूप दिया। आज वो विभाग पल्लवित है, वहाँ पर जितने अध्यापक है सब आपके प्रशंसक है, और वो सेंटर अभी भारतवर्ष में एक प्रमुख सेंटर है। इसीलिए सारे संस्कृत परिवार आपसे ऋणी है, और आपको तो मैं बीच बीच में सुनता रहता हूँ, आज भी आपका दिव्य भाषण सुना। और फिर मैं ऋणी हूँ दिव्य चेतनानंद जी से। ये जब ये शताब्दी समारोह चल रहा है, जन्म शताब्दी समारोह, मुझे एक दो सेमिनार में बोलने के लिए अवसर दिया था। बल्कि मेरी अज्ञता है कि आनंद मूर्ति जी के समस्त वाङ्मय को मैंने पढ़ा नहीं है। फिर भी जितना लिटरेचर मुझे दिए और जितना मैं संग्रह कर पाया और गूगल देवता मुझे दिए हैं, उससे पढ़ करके जो मेरा ज्ञान हुआ है आपके सामने उसको रखना चाहता हूँ। पहले तो मैं भर्तृहरि का एक पद्य से मेरा वक्तव्य प्रारंभ करना चाहूंगा। भर्तृहरि कहते हैं, भोगा न भुक्ता वयमेव भुक्ता, तपो न तप्तम वयमेव तप्ता, कालो न जातः वयमेव जातः, तृष्णा न जीर्णा वयमेव जीर्णा। इसका सामान्य अर्थ है, हम सोच रहे हैं कि हम भोग कर रहे हैं, लेकिन समय ने हमको भोग कर लिया और हम आहिस्ता आहिस्ता बूढ़े हुए हैं। और हमारे लिए समय नहीं आएगा, लेकिन समय जा रहा है, समय आएगा, लेकिन हमारे लिए वो समय नहीं आएगा। आज का दिन हमारे लिए कभी नहीं आएगा। और हम सोचेंगे कि तपस्या करेंगे, पढ़ेंगे, स्वाध्याय करेंगे, आज करेंगे, कल करेंगे, समय चला जाता है ये। लेकिन एक चीज जिंदा रहता है, जो तृष्णा। तो तृष्णा जो है मनुष्य को जिंदा रखता है और ये कभी नहीं मरती है, ये हर वक्त जवान है। और इसके साथ साथ हमारे समस्त शास्त्रकार बोलते हैं कि जीवन का सभी का जो मुख्य उद्देश्य है वो सुख प्राप्त करना। उसको आप भौतिक सुख भी ले सकते हैं, पारमार्थिक सुख भी लेते हैं। और सारे जो हमारे भारतीय वाङ्मय है, जो विशेष करके वैदिक वाङ्मय है, वैदिक वाङ्मय में ये उद्देश्य है कि हम जो है ना मोक्ष को प्राप्त करें। तो जितना भी हमारे दर्शन परंपरा है, सांख्य, योग, न्याय, वैशेषिक, मीमांसा, वेदांत की भी अनेक कैटेगरीज है। अद्वैत, द्वैत, द्वैताद्वैत, विशुद्धाद्वैत, निम्बार्क और वल्लभ संप्रदाय, सभी अपने अपने परंपरा है। इस परंपरा को देखते हुए भिन्न भिन्न, जैसे अभी हमारे कपूर साहब ने बताया कि हमारे भारत में हम बहुत संप्रदाय है, लोग जो देखेंगे सभी जो है ना उसी वैदिक संप्रदाय का पोषण करते हैं। इसीलिए पुष्पदंताचार्य जो शिव महिम्न स्तोत्र लिखे हैं, वो कहते हैं कि त्रयी सांख्य योग पशुपति मतम वैष्णवमिति प्रभिन्ने प्रस्थाने परमिदमत तथ्यमिति च रुचीणाम वैचित रुजु कुटिल नाना पथजुषाम मृणामेको गम्य त्वमसि पयसाम अर्णवैव। इसका अर्थ हो गया कि हमारे भारतीय परंपरा में कुछ वैदिक परंपरा है, वो कर्मकांड, यज्ञ आदि में विश्वास करके अपने आनंद को प्राप्त करते हैं। आनंद को आप मोक्ष भी ले सकते हैं। और ये कंसेप्ट, मैं इस आनंद का कंसेप्ट आनंद मार्ग के अनुसार क्या है मैं आगे बताऊंगा। उसके बाद सांख्य योग में ज्ञान का प्राधान्य, ज्ञान के द्वारा मोक्ष पाना चाहते हैं। और योग द्वारा, योग का भी दो है, हठो योग है, समाधि में बैठना, पंचाग्नि तपस्या करना, योग के द्वारा पाते हैं। वैष्णव संप्रदाय में वो वैखानस आगम है, पांचरात्र आगम है, उसमें सिद्धि करना चाहते हैं। लेकिन कोई ऋजु है, कोई सरल है, कोई कठिन है। लेकिन जैसे कि हमारे भारतीय परंपरा है, हम उस आनंद को प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं, उसी परम ब्रह्म को प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं। जैसे सभी नदियों का संगम स्थल जो है, मिलन स्थल समुद्र है, इसी प्रकार हमारे भारत जितने भी पंथ है, जितना भी है, वो ही हमारे परम ब्रह्म की ओर, आनंद की ओर जाता है। तो इसी को लेकर के ये जो आनंद मार्ग संप्रदाय बना, वो आनंद केवल व्यक्ति को नहीं है। दूसरे संप्रदाय में जैसे हमारे जितने भी संप्रदाय बताया, जो वेदांत के जो विभिन्न धारा बताया, वो सभी व्यक्ति को मोक्ष मिलता है, व्यक्ति को आनंद मिलता है। लेकिन आनंद मार्ग संप्रदाय में पहले तो व्यक्ति को आनंद मिलेगा, फिर वो धरातल पर अवतरित होकर के सभी को लेकर के चलेगा और सभी को आनंद को बांटेगा। तब जाकर के समूह या समुत्थानम जो है वो चलेगा। इसीलिए वो कहा गया है कि अगर भगवान की ओर आप एक कदम बढ़ाते हैं, भगवान 10 कदम आकर के आपको सहायता करते हैं। हमको अपने पुराण वाङ्मय में इस प्रकार अनेक उदाहरण मिल जाएगा। मैं एक ही उदाहरण बताता हूँ। एक छोटा सा बालक ध्रुव था, उनको अपने गुरु ने प्रेरित किया, नारद ने प्रेरित किया। वो 5 साल बालक तपस्या करके वो पहले अन्न छोड़ दिया, फिर पत्ता खाया, फिर जल ग्रहण किया, फिर जल छोड़ दिया, फिर वायु भक्षण किया। इतने उनको सिद्धि मिल गई, स्वयं भगवान आपको दर्शन की। तो कहा गया है इस संप्रदाय में, आप अगर 10 कदम चलते हैं, भगवान 20 कदम आकर के सहायता करते हैं और स्वयं भगवान अवतरित होकर के उस पर शक्तिपात करते हैं। उनके कपालों में शंख, अपना पांचजन्य शंख को स्पर्श कराते हैं। तब वो छोटा सा बालक बोलता है, जो अंतः प्रविश्य मम वाच मा अखिल शक्ति धस्त चरण श्रवण त्वगादीन प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम। ये मैं एक छोटा सा नमूना दिया। और इस संप्रदाय में क्या कहता है, आप बाह्य न हो करके आंतरिक होना चाहिए। और प्रत्येक का, एवरीबॉडी हैज राइट टू अटेंड ब्रह्मलोक। और ये भगवत दया कृपा के बिना हो नहीं सकता है। और इट इज नॉट यूनिलैटरल, इट इज म्यूचुअल। You can, if you will proceed 1 step, he will come forward 20 step. इसी प्रकार की ये जो सिद्धांत है इसको करते हैं। इसको अगर हम बांटते हैं, साइकोलॉजिकल दृष्टि से बांटते हैं, आनंद मार्ग के मुख्य 3 प्रभाग है। एक तो हो गया फिलोसॉफिकल, स्पिरिचुअल, इंस्टीट्यूशनल अप्रोच। मतलब जैसे कहते हैं सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ये जो कंसेप्ट है, ये संभूय समुत्थानम, आपको आनंद पा करके फिर आप मोक्ष पाने से पहले जिसको जीवन मुक्त का कंसेप्ट है, अगर आप जीवन मुक्त हो गए, केवल आप आनंद में रहेंगे, यद्यपि आपका शरीर रहेगा लेकिन आप बिल्कुल मोक्ष हो चुके। लेकिन आप दूसरों को अपने, अगर आपके घर में दाल रोटी है, पड़ोसी भूखा है, तो ये आपका उत्थान नहीं हुआ। उनको भी आपको ज्ञान दे करके उनको भी सुखी रखना चाहिए। उसके बाद एक करते हैं नियो ह्यूमनिज्म, इसको साइको इंटेलेक्चुअल अप्रोच नाम से वो जानते हैं। तीसरा जो है मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है, वो साइको इकोनॉमिक अप्रोच, इसको प्राउड कहते हैं, प्रोग्रेसिव यूटिलाइजेशन थ्योरी। इसका है जो मैं बताया हूं कि हम भी सुखी रहे, पड़ोसी भी सुखी रहे। अगर हम खाते हैं, हमारे पास में जो अन्न है, हमारे गाय कुत्ता इनको सब फेंक देते हैं, बांट देते हैं, उनको खाने के बाद बचता है। लेकिन किसी के पास जो है नहीं खाने के लिए, वे पेट पीठ मिलकर है, एक चल रहा लकुटिया टेक जिस भगवान है, इसी प्रकार का है। तो आनंदमूर्ति का कहना है, अधिजज्ञ है, सभी को भोजन पर, सभी को जिसको कहते हैं रोटी कपड़े मकान पर सबका अधिकार है। इसीलिए कोई अत्यंत गरीब नहीं रहेगा, कोई अत्यंत धनी नहीं रहेगा, ये समान वितरण हो। इसके लिए हमारे ज्ञान मार्ग में हो करके हम उसको आगे बढ़ाएंगे। और ये कहते हैं आनंद मार्ग का है, जिसको कहेंगे कि पाथ ऑफ ब्लिस, उनका है मोक्षार्थम जगद्हिताय च, सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन एंड सर्विस टू। अन्य शास्त्र में तो सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन है। एक अमेरिकन फिलोसोफर है वो मैस्लो कहते हैं सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन के बाद एक होता है सेल्फ एक्चुअलाइजेशन। तो हम सेल्फ एक्चुअलाइजेशन को जब आएंगे तब आकर के हम देखेंगे कि हम जन्म क्यों लिए, हमारा जन्म क्यों सार्थक हुआ ही कि नहीं है। भर्तृहरि की बात को हम सुनेंगे, आहार निद्रा भय मैथुनम च समानम एतत् पशुहि नराणम। आहार निद्रा भय और मैथुन ये पशुओं में है और मनुष्य में है। लेकिन मनुष्य में जो है वो धर्म है। धर्म क्या है? कर्तव्य है परस्पर उपकार करना, जैसे जो भारतीय धर्म में है। इसीलिए तो मनु ने कहा था, एतद्देश प्रसूतस्य सकाशात् अग्रजन्मन स्वम स्वम चरित्रम शिक्षेरन पृथिव्याम सर्वमानव। आज भी वो सदियों के पहले मनु महाराज लिख कर गए, लेकिन आज भी सही है। वही अभी हमारे सामने हमारे मुख्य वक्ता जी ने बताया कि बहुत सारे धर्म आए और वो लुप्त हो गए, लेकिन जो हमारा सनातन धर्म है, आज भी है। सनातन का अर्थ ये सदा राजते इति सनातन, कल भी था, आज भी है और कल भी रहेगा। इसीलिए तो जो अमेरिका में भौतिक मार्ग में बहुत ऊपर चढ़े गए और वो भी शांति के लिए भारतवर्ष में आते हैं और हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, और सब छोड़ करके चैतन्य के परंपरा में रह करके ऊर्ध्व त्रिपुंड धारण करके शिखा रख करके वो ऊपर हाथ उठा करके नाचते हैं। वही प्रक्रिया है, आनंद है। और इसी को भिन्न ढंग से, जैसे कि हम सारे नदी समुद्र में मिलते हैं, उसी प्रकार ज्ञान को आनंद देने के लिए आनंद मूर्ति ने इस प्रकार कहा कि आत्म मोक्षार्थम जगदिताय च, आत्मा का मोक्ष के साथ, आत्मा मतलब यहाँ पर शरीर है। आत्मा तो जो है अविनाशी है, लेकिन जो आत्मा ने जो शरीर को धारण किया है, भौतिक आत्मोद्धार के साथ साथ जगत का उद्धार हो। और इसीलिए भौतिकवाद एवं पूंजीवाद को निंदा करते हैं और मानववाद को प्रशंसा करते हैं और कल्याण मार्ग देखते हैं। और इसी प्रकार के आपने जैसे बताया गया कि इसको बताने के लिए 5000 से अधिक विभिन्न असमय संगीत लिखे, वो अर्थशास्त्री भी है, समाज चिंतक भी है, दार्शनिक है, इसी प्रकार के अनेक उनका कार्य रहा है। इतना कम समय में इतना जो कार्य करके जाते हैं वो ही महामानव होते हैं। और इनका जो सांख्य दर्शन का जो स्वरूप है, तो उनसे मिलाकर अंत में जो कहते हैं कि हम बहुत सारे चीज को, सत्कार्यवाद की बात कहिए, सारे चीज उनके दर्शन मिलता है। आनंदम ब्रह्म विद्या, ये सकारात्मक है। और ये कहते हैं कि जो जगत को सत्यता, जगत की सत्यता मानने वाले भी कुछ आचार्य है जो ब्रह्म को सत्य मानते हैं, जगत को सत्य भी मानते हैं। और लेकिन ये जो हमारे जो आनंद मार्ग की परंपरा है, ये कहते हैं कि मोक्ष और मुक्ति में अंतर है। ये कहते हैं जो योग दर्शन की अभी चर्चा प्रोफेसर कपूर जी कह रहे थे, वो कह रहे थे कि ये एक मोक्ष है जिसको मुक्ति कहते हैं, वो सगुण है, और निर्गुण जो है मोक्ष। मोक्ष मुक्ति को लिबरेशन कह सकते हैं और मोक्ष को साल्वेशन कह सकते हैं। इसीलिए दोनों का कंसेप्ट अलग अलग है। मुक्ति पा जाना नहीं है, मुक्ति से फिर मुक्ति तक जाना है। इसीलिए इसको कहते हैं सगुणात्मक, एक को कहते निर्गुणात्मक। और ये काम क्रोध, ये जो चार हमारे पुरुषार्थ है, काम धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष, ये तीनों जो है ये त्रिवर्ग का अभ्युदय करते हैं। जब त्रिवर्ग मतलब हो गया काम धर्म और अर्थ, ये तीनों के द्वारा हमको जो निश्रेय सुख प्राप्त करना है। इसलिए वैशेषिक दर्शन धर्म की परिभाषा बताता है, और यह तो अभ्युदय निश्रेय सिद्धि स धर्म। तो अभ्युदय और निश्रेयस इन दोनों में अंतर है। अभ्युदय होता है यह लौकिक प्रगति को हम अभ्युदय कहते हैं। इसीलिए संसार की जो प्रगति है, जो वेदानुमोदित प्रगति है, उसको हम अभ्युदय कहेंगे। और मोक्ष जो है वो पारलौकिक गति है। हम इस जन्म में जो करेंगे, जो हमारे डिजायर है, उसके अनुसार हम जाकर आगे बढ़ेंगे। और इसी को ये कहते हैं कि उसको अपने ढंग से कहते हैं कॉस्मिक न्यूक्लियस है, जिसको हम पुरुषोत्तम कहते हैं। और उनका इच्छा विद है, फिर मन होता है, फिर वृत्तियां होती है। अपने अपने जो भारतीय परंपरा को जैसे बताया गया है, जैसे हमारे विवेकानंद जिस प्रकार के अद्वैत को प्रचार करते हैं, शंकराचार्य करते हैं, रामानुजाचार्य करते हैं, निम्बार्काचार्य करते हैं, और रामकृष्ण परमहंस करते हैं, सभी हमारे भारतीय परंपरा है। लेकिन इनका एक विस्तार रूप जो है अपने आनंद मूर्ति ने हमको दिया है। और इसी प्रकार के हर दर्शन को देखेंगे कुछ ना कुछ हमको मिलता है। और आनंदमूर्ति जी और ये कल्पना करते हैं, वो तारक ब्रह्म, जिसको कहते हैं कि ये एक अलग टीचिंग है, भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा में है। और असुरों को भोग करना चाहते हैं, देव विवेकशील होते हैं, तो इसीलिए आसुरी प्रभाव से देव प्रभाव को जाएंगे। कैसे होगा? ये केवल ज्ञान के द्वारा होगा। तो ज्ञान का मार्ग हमको आनंदमूर्ति ने दिया है। इसी प्रकार के एक पक्ष को आपके सामने, आप लोगों के सामने मैंने रखा। अब बहुत वक्तागण यहाँ पर उपस्थित है। इसमें प्रमुख रूप में मैं दिव्य कृष्णानंद जी को मैं सादर भक्ति पूर्वक नमस्कार पूर्वक उनको साधुवाद देता हूँ। कुछ मुझे बोलने के लिए अवसर दिया है। और बहुत दिनों के बाद प्रोफेसर कपिल कपूर जी को मैंने सुना, और इसमें और प्रोफेसर गोपाल चंद्र मिश्रा जी, सांब शिव प्रसाद जी, ये सारे ऐसे बहुत विद्वद्गण है, हम उनको सुनेंगे। इतना कहा करके मैं अपने वाणी को आज के लिए विश्राम देता हूँ। और इस प्रकार के आनंद मूर्ति जी के केवल जो दार्शनिक और सामाजिक पक्ष मैंने रखा, इस प्रकार उनके साहित्यिक पक्ष, इनका अर्थनीतिक पक्ष, उनका सामाजिक पक्ष, और इनका जो क्लासिक, जो उनका जो लिंग्विस्टिक पक्ष, इन सबको उनका, इसके बाद और एक पक्ष होता है संगीत पक्ष। इन सब एक एक विषय पर एक अच्छे प्रवचन व्याख्यान हो सकता है। मैं केवल सामान्य रूप में परिचयात्मक भाषण दिया, और जो विद्वान वक्ता है इस विषय को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। मुझे आपने अवसर दिया, इसलिए सबको पुनः पुनः धन्यवाद, प्रणाम।
Thank you very much, Professor Gangadhar Panda, for your valuable speech. You have unfolded the main philosophy of Anandamarga. You have rightly spoken about the three pillars of Anandamarga, that is the philosophical approach, new humanism, and psychoeconomic approach, that is proud progressive utilization theory. And you have told about Anandamarga as the path of bliss, the self-realization, and also described Anandamurtijii as a great personality, his views on Mukti, Moksha, and Tarak Brahma. Thank you, sir, for your illuminating speech. We have become enriched with your speech, and thank you very much. So then I shall proceed with this program. At first, I want to invite respected chairperson, Professor B. Sambasiva Prasad.
One second.
Yes.
Just few words. Manisha Kulkarni has to leave, so few words he will speak. Manisha Kulkarni, just tell.
Okay. I request Manisha Kulkarni ji for speaking a few words
About Prabhat
please,
Singh.
on Prabhat Sangeeta. Please, Dr. Kulkarni, please.
Yeah, Manisha ji.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Time is short, but few words you have to say about Prabhat Singh.
Once again, my humble pranams to all of you. And I am really grateful to Swami Divya Chetananandji for giving me opportunity to sing today, because I received blessings from Kapil Kapoor Sarji. So I'm really indebted to you, sir. Thank you so much, Swamiji. As Swamiji has said, that I'll be speaking briefly about Prabhat Sangeet. As in the beginning, while singing the invocation song, I had sung the two compositions, and you all could see that they were both based on some kind of ragas. So the first thing that comes to our mind, that why the Indian philosophers, thinkers, and great sages have always adopted music as a vehicle, or the raga as as their vehicle to propagate their philosophies and their theories. So raga is like poetry. It tells you in just something beyond the words, and it makes you ponder over the given thought seed. So something which has to be emotionally and spiritually expressed cannot be always told in words. It loses its charm. It loses its effectiveness as well. So if I sing something like this. Rag Bageshri, and there are so many devotional composition based on this rag. So one of the very beautiful Marathi composition is Dhanuwaze Ghuna Ghuna Vara Vara Ghuna Ghuna Bhavadar Kuhakana Regi Beta. Ganeshwar Maharaj is pleading that please get me to my beloved Lord Krishna. Please take me to him. So these are the feelings that can be captured only through music, and again, like poetry, it makes you ponder over it. So all our philosophers and great saints have used music very wisely, not only to attract the general audiences. Yes, they have used it to attract general audiences. So the music is composed in the local language, just as this was in Marathi. So the local people come to listen to it, and then again they think about their ideologies and their philosophies. So this is the old tradition of India. You must all be all aware of Mirabai ji singing with Ektari, Surdas Maharaj. So they have also contributed in classical music also, because there was a tradition in Vaishnava parampara to compose a tune in new rag each day and offer it to Krishna, as nevedya or something that there as their offering. So similarly, uh, all these saints have used music or raga sangeet as their vehicle, and so has Sri Anandamurtijii. His compositions are called Prabhat Sangeet by his own name, as his name was Prabhat Ranjan Sarkar, and so this is called as Prabhat Sangeet. It is also very symbolical because it has brought about a new dawn of music. It's a naya savera in music with the freshness it has brought about. The Bengal has already a rich culture of music, and we all know that Nobel laureate Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore is considered to be the cultural ambassador of India, and Prabhat Ranjan Sarkarji, that is Sri Anandamurti's Sangeet, is considered to be post Prabhat, post Ravindra Sangeet of Bengal. And between the years 1982 to 1990, Anandamurtijii has composed as many as 5,018 songs, and his songs convey his experiences, his philosophies, his ideologies. They were about Krishna, Shiva Bhakti, the different stages of spiritual experiences, Dhyan Dharana, about nature, about the new humanism. Some were also marching songs. The songs are composed not only in Bangla but also in English, Sanskrit, Hindi, Urdu, Maithili, and Angika. And they were based, the composition that I sang today, one was based on Khayal and one was something of Geetanuma. But there is a large variety of songs: Tappa, Baul, Thumri, Kirtan, Khyal, Ghazal, Qawwali. The songs are based on all these genres of music. So all in all, I would say that the Prabhat Sangeet has a beautiful interplay of melody, rhythm, and rich literary content. Prabhat Sangeet has ability to give its audience supra aesthetic experience. They share they have its innate capacity to convey the melancholy, and it's very, very anandadayi. It's very a blissful experience, and in all, it is a dawn of new era of Indian music. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni, for your explanation that how raga can propagate the philosophy, and through music, how emotional expression and spiritual vibration can be brought about. Okay, and you have beautifully sang the Balkosh in beautiful way, and you told that how feelings can be captured through music. So you have just ushered a new. You told that the Prabhat Sangeet has ushered a new dawn of music with you telling that Sri Anandamurtijii has in various languages have written Prabhat Sangeeta with full of melody and rhythm, and it is content is rich, right? And it gives super aesthetic experience to all. So thank you very much for your valuable words regards Prabhat Sangeeta. Thank you, madam. Okay, so now I shall proceed with our program, and I shall now invite our respected chairperson, Professor B. Sambasiva Prasad, former head of the Department of Philosophy, Sri Venkateshwara University, Tripura. He was also a director of Gandhian Center of Hitam University of Visakhapatnam. So, sir, please begin the program with your deliberation. Professor B. Sambasiva Prasad. Sir, please begin as our chairperson the program.
Madam, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Am I audible?
Sure. Yes, yes, absolutely audible. Thank you, sir.
Professor Kapil Kapoor, Ji, Chairman, the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Shimla. Professor Gangadhar Panda, Vice Chancellor, Kolhan University, Jharkhand. And the scholar who rendered a beautiful prayer song, Miss Manisha. Professor and the speakers, Professor Gopal Chandra Mishra, Professor Ramnath Jha, Professor Sirajul Islam, and Dr. Sindhu Pordial, Dr. Shakuntala Gaude, and Dr. Sudhanshu Shekhar, and over and above, Acharya Divya Chetananda Avadhota Ji, and friends. At the outset, I am thankful to Renaissance Universal, the Intellectual Forum of Anandamarga, Pracharak Sangha, for giving me a wonderful opportunity to participate in the two-day national webinar on Sri Sri Anandamurtijii contributions to social and spiritual science. Especially, I thank Acharya Divya Chetananda Avadhata Ji, Central Archive Secretary, who was in constant touch with me ever since I received the invitation to participate in this program. Just 1 minute, madam.
Yes, sir. No, sir. It's okay.
Sorry. Sri Anandamurtijii has written about 500 books on philosophy, science, music, history, education, economics, etc. He had spreaded the Anandamarga organization in about 180 countries. His contribution to social and spiritual science is remarkable. It is true that we are in the midst of science and technology. Science gives us all bodily comforts. However, they cannot give us mental delights, morals, and spirituality. Science is needed, but it is not enough. It should be supplemented with spirituality. Science and spirituality together will make man happy and blissful, both physically and mentally. The distinguished scientist Einstein said, as long as you are in the realm of science, you will never encounter with a statement, thou shalt not lie. Morals are not taught by science.
Sir, please unmute yourself, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Now it's all right. Distinguished philosopher, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan once remarked that the modern man is able to fly in air like a bird, swim in water like a fish, but he is not able to walk on earth like a human being. So that means a human being, modern man should be able to follow certain values of morality, values of spirituality. So these are lacking now. And Mahatma Gandhi said that he has introduced the moral and spiritual values to human life. The two values that Gandhi taught to us are truth and non-violence, Satya and Ahimsa. Gandhi called the truth as God. And he said non-violence should be the path to reach the truth. The values like truth and non-violence are moral and spiritual values that are taught by Mahatma Gandhi. So what we need is, in addition to science, we need values, a value life, a value living. These values should be moral values and spiritual values. These values, Avadhutaji, Sri Anandamurtijii, he has propagated, advocated these values to the human society. Sri Anand humanity with the original concepts of metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and macro history. He has set out for the first time a socio-economic approach concerned in the light of a theistic philosophy, blending subjective approach with objective adjustment that offers the world a well-knit and a progressive social system based on economic justice. He designated Ananda Sutram together with the complementary book Idea and Ideology as the Darshana Shastra, philosophy of treasure of Anandamarga. As per my understanding, Sri Anandamurtijii developed his philosophy of Anandamarga under the background of Indian philosophical tradition. Several concepts like that Sri Anandamurtijii, like Brahma, Shiva, Shakti, Jagat, Parama Purusha, Jivatma, Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahma, theory of Panchakosha, Purusha, and Prakriti. You find in Indian philosophical tradition the Upanishads, the Advaita, Vedanta, the Vishishtadvaita, the Sankhya Yoga systems did discuss these concepts threadbare. However, Sri Anandamurti has interpreted these concepts in his own novel way and showed us a path. There is a marga to attain Ananda, blissful state. To redeem man from suffering is the goal of Buddhism. The objective of a Sankhya system is to distinguish between Purusha and Prakriti and attain Viveka Jnana. The objective of Vedanta is to realize Brahman. Finally, these systems aim at relieving man from ignorance and attain blissful state or moksha. They teach the realization of ultimate truth. So also the philosophy of Sri Anandamurtijii. It aims at realizing ultimate truth, Paramatma, and to attain blissful state. also it aims at cosmic brotherhood and harmony in society. It aims at world government and to shed narrow nationalism that has generated 2 world wars. To quote from Idea and Ideology, the social philosophy of Anandamarga advocates the development of the integrated personality of the individual and also the establishment of work fraternity, in inculcating in human psychology a cosmic statement, a cosmic sentiment. The Marga advocates progressive utilization of mundane and supramundane factors of the cosmos. Friends, in this session, learned scholars like Professor from Kapil Kapoor and Chairman IIAC Shimla, Professor Gangadhar Pandey, Vice Chancellor, Kolkata University, Jharkhand, already gave their messages. Also, we are going to listen Professor Gopal Chandra Mishra, Professor Sirazul Islam, Dr. Sindhu Paul, Dr. Shakuntala Gowde, and Dr. Sudarshana Shekhar. I look forward to listen to these great scholars. I once again thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity to participate in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor B. Samvad Prasad, for your very relevant lecture, and you have rightly told about how the contribution of Anandamarga in respect of social and spiritual science is remarkable, as propounded by Sri Anandamurtijii, and how this thing should be social things should be supplemented, or science should be supplemented with spirituality, and how the value of morality and spirituality should be there in human life, and it would bring about the upliftment of society. And you have rightly pointed out the things from the book Idea and Ideology, written by Sri Anandamurtijii, and you have told that Anandamurtijii has interpreted different concepts in his own way, and told how to realize Brahma, and how to relieve a man from ignorance and attain moksha, the blissful state. Thank you, sir, for your valuable speech. And now we shall, without any further delay, we shall go to our first speaker of this session, this national webinar, Professor Gopal Chandra Mitra, Department of Sanskrit, Rabindra Bharati University, former Vice Chancellor, University of Poland. So, Professor Gopal Chandra Mitra, please, sir, please start your deliberation. We are waiting for you.
गुरुर् ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरो गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। परम गुरुं श्री श्री आनंदमूर्तिं प्रणमामि भूयो भूयः। Distinguished scholars and academicians, this is very much difficult for me today to say something after hearing such illuminating speech delivered by revered Sir Professor Kapil Kapoor ji. Such enriched lecture delivered by Professor Ganga Prasad Pandey ji, and such inspiring lecture delivered by Professor B. Sambasiva Prasad ji, the chairman of our academic session. This is very much difficult for me to say something, but I have been requested by revered Swami ji, Divya Chetanananda ji of Avadhut ji, so I can't ignore his words. So I want to present few words on this cosmic brotherhood as conceived by Sri Sri Anandamurti. Scholars, all of you know that any human civilization on earth has been developed on an integrated culture. And this kind of culture comprises of two wings, spiritual and material. But our Indian civilization is predominantly spiritual, you know. And dominance of spirituality in our civilization continued for many centuries. But Gautama Buddha, Sankhya Vaisheshika philosophers, and the Nyaya Vaisheshika philosophers, for the first time, attempted to attach a material flavor to our spirituality. After them, Shankaracharya, as has already been said by our Acharya, Professor Kopul Kapurji, Adi Guru of our Hinduism, had expounded spirituality in its true sense on the basis of Vedanta. And it continued in our civilization for many years. In modern age, particularly Paramahamsa Ramakrishna and his disciple Swami Vivekananda tried to explain our spirituality from the viewpoint of practical Vedanta. But in spite of their sincere and devotional attempt, dedicated attempt, it has not yet reached to the common people. But surprisingly enough, Anandamurtijii, for the first time, expounded spirituality in a very concrete term. According to him, spirituality is not at all an utopian ideal, but it is really a practical ideal. We can practice spirituality, according to Anandamurtijii, in our day-to-day life. This is very, very interesting and new explanation. He continues to explain that spirituality broadens our mind and broadens the area of unition. Spirituality does not admit any distinction among human beings, among high and in between high and low, in between ignorant and learned. And this is that philosophy which encompasses all sorts of human qualities. And these sorts of human qualities inculcate a cosmic truth, the truth that is hidden in our civilization. That is, according to Anandamurtijii, spirituality is truth, and truth is spirituality that gives birth to cosmic brotherhood. And this cosmic brotherhood stands for evolution and elevation. Friends, in the present environment today, some Fishiparas agencies are continuously active to uh, vitiate our situation and making self-centered groups. In this perspective, spiritually can save human beings from suicidal tendencies. Friends, spirituality, as Anandamurtijii opines, must inculcate a psychological sense in human beings. It is also a new thing he has evolved. Actually, Anandamurtijii attempted to explain spirituality from the standpoint of human psychology. And in doing so, he propounded that human psychology inculcates universal brotherhood is a fact, but there are very there are a lot of Fishiparas agencies and differences of language, differences of attitude, differences of tendencies, differences of traditions. How, in this perspective, how universal brotherhood can achieve its goal? Apprehending this very interesting question, Anandamurtijii has propounded 4 formulas to solve the problem that are the obstacles to the path of universal brotherhood. He formulated 4 formulas. The first one is common philosophy. The second one is common constitution. The third one is common penal code. And the fourth one is availability of essential commodities.
हाँ सर, आप सुनिए, रहिए.
Hello, to the common people of the society. Actually, in order to make a constitution, a common philosophy, he is of the opinion that common philosophy urgently demands a sort of human development through 3 stages: spiritual, mental, and physical. As and when we are spiritually, mentally, and physically developed, then we shall be able to enter into the periphery of common philosophy of the world. And then he comes to the common constituency. By means of common constituency, he wants to say that this world, despite having so many differences, be a common platform for the human beings, where all will be equal. All will be equal, and common constituency will constitute a universal world, that is world constitution. Uh, that's why the Western writer Matthew Arnold spoke of global citizenship, Vishwa Nagarikatva, global citizenship by means of common constitution. Anandamurtijii wants to say that there will be global concept that we are the citizens of this world. We are not the citizens of any isolated countries. Countries may be its units. And then he comes to common penal code to give proper justice, that is social justice, to everybody. And then his social philosophy stands for availability of commodities, essential commodities to all and sundry. And actually, this kind of explanation of Anandamurtijii is lying hidden in our civilization. That is, he has newly explained it. He has newly propounded the spirituality to universal brotherhood. And universal brotherhood stands on four pillars. That is, first pillar is one feeling of oneness. Second pillar is self-sacrifice, feeling of self-sacrifice. Third pillar is non-violence. And fourth pillar is service to humanity. So the first pillar is already hidden in our civilization. Please remember the old saying that is referred to in the Atharva Veda, Atraiva Vishwang Bhavattaika Needam. Here, in the sense of human brotherhood, cosmic brotherhood, all the world will be the abode of all animate and inanimate things, inanimate beings. Atraiva Vishwang Bhavattaika Needam. And even it is very often said, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. All human beings are our kith and kin. There's no difference. This is the feeling of oneness, that is one pillar of cosmic brotherhood. That the second pillar of cosmic brotherhood is feeling self-sacrifice. And for this reason, Ishopanishad says, Tiena tyaktena bhunjitaha magridhakasya siddhanam. Please enjoy your wealth, what is allotted for you only. And please allow the wealth allotted for others. Tena tyaktena bhunjitaha magridhakasya siddhanam. And then even Bhagavata Purana says, you should take food what amount you need only, but not at all grab the food of others. Yavat bhriyeta jataram. And even we go to the feeling of self-sacrifice, we see in the Atharva Veda, Sarve jana bhavantu sukhinaha. May all the people of this world be happy. And in Mahabharata it is said, Sastassu Vishwasya Varangna Jache. We want the peace of this world, but not want blessings for me only. This is the call of the Mahabharata. And even the ultimate saying is found in the Markandeya Purana, where it is said, Natvahang tamaye sargwang norajyang na punarbhavam kamoye dukhataptanang praninam artonasanam. I don't want any kingdom. I don't want rebirth. What I want? I want the removal of all sufferings of the downtrodden people of this world. So, and when it comes to the vow of non-violence, Atharva Veda again says, Sarvesang ahimsa satyam. Truth is non-violence to all. Ahimsa, and Mahabharata says, ahimsa paramo dharma sacha satya pratisthito. Non-violence is the great virtue which is based on truth. So, cosmic brotherhood is the truth, and truth is our dharma, and dharma is the embodiment of satya, rita, and saubhatripto. So, Anandamurtiji's explanation, new explanation about cosmic brotherhood, which is explained mainly from the viewpoint of practical world and from the viewpoint of psychology, should go to the common people to understand the real truth of this universe. With these words, scholars, I would like to end my speech. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya. Once again, I like to convey my heartiest gratefulness to the organizing committee for extending me such an invitation and to be with you, the great dignitaries present here. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, Professor Gopal Chandra Mishra, for your illuminating lecture, because you have emphasized on cosmic brotherhood as conceived by Anandamurtijii. And you have, with your beautiful slokas, you have explained how there are 4 formulas to solve this concept, that is the common philosophy, common constituency, common penal code, and the common essential commodity to be given to all human beings. And you have told about the 4 pillars of cosmic brotherhood, that is the feeling of oneness, feeling of self-sacrifice, non-violence, and service to humanity. And yes, world is the abode of animate and inanimate beings, and you have rightly lastly told about the thing that cosmic brotherhood is the truth. So thank you, sir, for this lecture. And now I shall, if with the permission of chairperson, can I call the next speaker, sir, for the next session? Professor B. Sambasiva Prasad. May I now call the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you, Professor Gopal Chandra Mishra, for your beautiful analysis of the social and spiritual aspect of Anandamarga as propounded by Sri Anandamurtijii. Thank you, sir, again. And now I would invite Dr. Sindhu Padwiyal, Assistant Professor, Department of Philosophy, Tripura Central University, to deliver the lecture. Dr. Sindhu Padwiyal.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Respected Swamiji, respected chair for today, Professor Prasad, respected keynote addressee, our own respected Professor Kapoor ji, chief guest of today's program, Professor Panda, and the eminent speakers who already spoke before me and those who are speaking right after me, Professor Mishra, Professor Jha, Professor Islam, Dr. Gaude, and Dr. Shekharji, and all other participants who are present virtually today with us to listen to and to learn a lot on Anandamurtiji's philosophy, because all of us, we agree to this point that Anandamurtiji's philosophy have not been explored enough by by us, and question ourselves that why it is so, and through these seminars, perhaps our endeavor uh, would be to highlight the essential points, essential philosophies, or the essential foundational teachings of Anandamurtiji, where we can locate him as one of the philosophers of this century. So, with these few words, let me just share my slides with you, which I tried to make quickly yesterday based on a little reading of Ananda Sutram, a little reading of Idea and Ideology, and also a bit of the orientation of Sprout, which was shared to me by our respected Swamiji. He has been one of the inspiration to me. He's constantly pulling me to Anandamurtiji's philosophy, and almost in every aspect of these presentations, he is pulling me there. And I'm thankful to Swamiji for giving me this opportunity, because due to his endeavors that I'm learning a lot. And I think from next BPGS, whenever we are going to have it, I'm going to push in my department to include Anandamurtiji in our syllabus. Like last BPGS, I have really pushed Iqbal and Jiddu Krishnamurti to include in our syllabus, contemporary thinkers. So that is my commitment now, through these different deliberations which I attended on Sri Anandamurtiji. So today I am going to speak a little bit on, with my very little knowledge, let me be purely and honestly honest, that I am not a follower of Anandamurtiji's philosophy and spiritualism, and which I think mostly the fourth chapter of Ananda Sutram, which is essential to understand even socio-political and economic philosophy of Anandamurtiji, and where I think I am incompetent. And there we need to really focus our attention. But then I have deliberately skipped that chapter because I am nobody to speak on such a enlightened topic, which is completely, tantric and one's transcendental arousal of the transcendental awareness. So where I don't think I have any expertise. So it's all little bit of oratory and little bit of philosophical foundations and some jargon words. I'm going to present in front of you some of my understandings which I learned through the readings. Let me share the slides with you, and then I'll take just 10 to 15 minutes. Please bear with me because most of the things are going to be repetitive. Professor Kapoor and eminent speakers, I don't think I am in a position to even say a word with regard to this. But however, I'm going to talk what I have understood so far. And I'm going to talk on sustainability and the idea of progress. Progress, because progress is something he constantly emphasizes in his ideology, where he is trying to found this firm idea of Prout. So it is an analysis of the socio-economic thought of PR Sarkar. So today I deliberately wrote PR Sarkar because when we talk of these ideas, he was actually a PR Sarkar to us. And then when he becomes a spiritual person, he becomes Anandamurti to us. And this I learned in one of the deliberations past weeks. I hope this I'm audible, and this slide is visible.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So the outline of today's presentation will be a brief introduction, which is already, I think, done enough, and the historical notion of this, that why do we need to think of an alternative of sustainability and progress? Because sustainability is a term which is being used these days immensely, even in economics, sociology, political science, even in climate change and progressive and developmental theories. We talk of sustainability a lot. And here is a thinker who tried to understand this idea of sustainability from individual to a greater development of the world. So from an individual basic self-oriented subject to a bigger self, that is one oriented subject, that so the whole world is one family. So the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that ideal, how it has been actualized through a self. This is what is going to be the historical context. Third is the philosophy and the contemporary relevance of his socio-economic and political revival. The political part, I'm not sure I will be dealing, but then yes, philosophy and the contemporary relevance in terms of education and economic development and the social development is important. And the conclusion, where I will throw a question to all of us to ponder upon, that why even having such a very vision-oriented philosophy, why perhaps PR Sarkar had been deliberately sidelined in this historicity, and if we have any solution to that, then we can think of. And there I found a very beautiful quote in one of his foundational philosophies on Prout, where he, perhaps that was one of the little conflicting due to which he perhaps was sidelined deliberately. So while introducing again, we all know that his theory, he talks of a social theory as Samaj Chakra. He starts in Ananda Sutram as Samaj Chakra. So that means this is a circular kind of world we are living. We are thrown into this world, and this world, we cannot get away with this world. So then what we should make out from this world? So he said that, and this social circle aims at shared spaces of happiness and all-round welfare. Now this is an utopian ideal, that this shared space, with all its limitations, with all its possibilities, we have a tremendous possibility of happiness, and this is why it is Ananda. And also it aims towards the welfare of all. So downtrodden, poor, Hispanic, women, everybody is included in it. So there is not an other in this spectrum. So he said that this popular term, which summarizes his whole socio-economic and educational philosophy, later on it is aiming towards an educational philosophy, and this is what is my little novelty which I am trying to put forth, that in education, because in 2020 our new education policy has been introduced. So this ideology of Prout in a way is aiming towards an educational philosophy. And this progressive utilization theory, which is, as I said, popularly known as Prout, is trying to highlight this Ananda Sutram's the statement that it is pragatishila, that is progressive, and it has to be upayoga tattwamidam. So utilization, it is for the usage. So that means it is constantly in the progress of change, evolution, revolution, re-revolution, and this is why it is pragmatic. So it is also samaja, sarvajana hitartham. So it is for the welfare of all, and sarvajana sukhartham. So it is not only hita, it is sukha as well. So here we consider it as happiness, but he considers it as transcendental bliss, because it is only when we give it to the other, when we open our domains to the other, that enlightens the self itself. And this, I think I have already said in one of my presentations a couple of weeks back. And also it is pracharitam, so it is offered for the popularization. So this is where again there is a choice. So we have a choice to take this, or we have a choice to discard it. So he is not forcefully upholding his philosophy on anyone. And this is the beauty, that we need to think for the progress of everybody, with whatever available resources we have, one, and with the aim that we all will lead to that ultimate bliss. And this ultimate bliss is the utopian principle, utopian ideology, which utopian in a way, because it was not been actualized yet, and this is why I still find this is utopian. But then nevertheless, perhaps with education, there is a possibility of achieving it. And this is where the analogy shifts. So as we know that it is founded, the context of the historicity lies in understanding this Ananda Marga as the path of bliss, as a new socio-spiritual organization. So it is not only the liberation for the self, but it's also liberation of all. And how does this liberation takes place according to him? It is like he was influenced perhaps by all these religious and Bengal Renaissance and religious developments and religious reformations which took place in 19th and 20th century, early part of 20th century, which took place in our social setup. One of the examples could be given is Brahma Samaj's contribution to the development of our Hindu, the changes, the reformations took place at that particular point of time. So if we look at these different historicities, then I find there are two basic features we need to set aside while analyzing P.R. Sarkar's whole of social philosophy. That it is a reaction against a totalitarian capitalist economic system. Yes, of course, till we got our independence, we still lived in a totalitarian capitalist economic, though we were colonized, but it was totalitarian in nature, because we did not have our own voice. Now, the second is it does not necessarily support the communism either. Now, this is something which is really interesting. After reading this 5th chapter, I found out that he was surely against communism too. But then he took some of his ideas of communism while propagating his idea in Prout. So if I see what is this Prout is, so while analyzing and reading and doing a little bit of research, I found two distinctive aspects. One is an economic developmental aspect, and the second is a social upliftment. And this third one, that spiritually elevating the self, this is purely my inclusion to this understanding of Prout fundamentally. So this third is something which takes the flag to march towards the development of these two. So he says economic development will take place, but first you need to spiritually elevate yourself. Otherwise, how will you fight the prejudices? How will you fight the opposition? So all of that. Even with the economic development, first a person needs to be spiritually elevated. And this is why the 4th chapter specifically in Ananda Sutram is important, even to read the 4th chapter, which is again the foundation of Prout. So, and with regard to the say third, contemporary relevance, in which area or which field that it is now going to be. So when we talk of 21st century India, so 19th century India was totally different than the 21st century India. We have technology, we have resources, we have everything. Yet, and with all these, we also have created other problems. Like we have medical emergencies, like with Corona, we are facing it even today. Now, with the degradation of environment, that created another havoc throughout the world. So everywhere, yesterday only when I was analyzing reading one of the papers for environmental studies, and I found out that in 21st century, in this 2021, if we look at China, it is flooded. Canada, it is facing environmental hazards there, and then animals are struggling, human beings are struggling because of the high rise of temperature. So who is responsible for this? It is not the nature which is giving us in abundance. It is us who is not taking care of the resources. And this is why he says that it needs to be distributed equally amongst everyone. Though social order is going to have these disorders, and one of the beauties about Anandamurtiji, P.R. Sarkar's philosophy is this, that he never discarded, he never deconstructed the traditional pattern. He did not dethrone the idea that there are 4 castes in our society. He says castes are going to be there. So, and instead of taking caste as an issue to the society, he very beautifully molded the very idea that what is this caste? Let us try to understand it intellectually. And he divides it in beautifully, that sabvipras. Instead of using the word brahmana, he says savipra. So, and then kshatriyas, the warriors, and then the business person, and even he did not use the word shudras, he said workers. Now, these structural understanding and a practical, so it is utilitarian. So the practical utilitarian, and it's pragmatic. So the amalgamation of a pragmatic philosophy alongside this utilitarian principle is something we can see, and that comes out beautifully in the neo-humanism of Anandamurtijii. So he says that so in the Ananda Sutram from verse number 12 to 16, I do not have time to read out the whole thing. I have this entire text with me, but then at least I will just just summarize the points. So he says that every human being, yes, excuse me, is there any issue?
No. You may continue. Okay. Yeah, I thought
I took too much of time.
No.
No.
You continue.
Yes. So the 5 fundamental principles which are highlighted in the contemporary relevance which are there in Ananda Sutram are that is non-accumulation of wealth without the approval of the society. Now that is something which is against capitalism, that I can acquire as much as of wealth I want in my life. No, it is not so, because it is for the resource is something which is for everybody. So this is a foundational principle. So, and this principle has been highlighted beautifully even by Gandhi while leading his My Experiments with Truth. He highlighted this fact. So, and maximum utilization of the rational distribution of crudes, subtle and the causal resources. So even rational distribution is something. Now who will do this? The question is, who will do this rational distribution? Now the answer is in the second slide. Now the third is the maximum utilization of the physical, mental and the spiritual potentialities of the individual and the collective beings. Now the physical potentiality, mental potentiality, as well as the spiritual potentiality. Now this spiritual potentiality is something which is really is the need of the hour, even for India, because we talk when we talk of our rich heritage of our past, like Vedas, Upanishads and all, but how many of us are actually enlightened? Because the aim of the Upanishads is to enlighten the self. It is not just a rhetoric. It is a marga. It is a way for the self-realization. But then after reading all those texts, how many of us are enlightened? Or even if there are enlightened, like perhaps Sri Anandamurtijii or even Ramana Maharshi and all, are we giving the due credit to them? This is a question. And the third one is a well-balanced, the fourth one is a well-balanced adjustment among the crude, subtle and the causal utilizations. So a balanced distribution of the property, so that which is coming from the natural resources. Because what if I am not acquiring anything of my own, like the first principle that I cannot accumulate wealth without the approval of the society, so that precisely means everything belongs to the society. So whatever I acquire, I think I am acquiring. Now that acquisition also has a stage. He says that first of all, one needs to start from the idea that we need to equally distribute the natural resources. Once that distribution even reaches to the last person on earth, and then we think of a little higher gradation. That means if a person is intellectually inclined, that person needs to be given a specific treatment. The person who is very progressive, that person needs to be given a different treatment, and that way selectively we need to choose. But then the next slide, there are questions with regard to this. And then the third stage, that when this, and he gives a beautiful example of if we do not have bicycle, say if our need is to ride bicycle, for everyone, so we need to provide bicycle to everyone. And once that bicycle reaches to the the last person on earth, then we think of providing aeroplanes. So now to get to ride even that aeroplane, you need to have a special potentiality. So then you need to choose those people actually are capable enough, those who are actually are competent enough to do that. So you need to provide it to them. But then in there, but he says it is according to the time, it is according to the change of the situation, according to the change of the society, we need to take care of the resources. We need to also create resources based on time, society, and the spatial needs. So, and if we continue this further, then we see that despite the fact that Ananda Margas, this proud as a distinct organizations, his socio-economic and the political philosophy needs to be viewed as an integral part of his spiritual philosophy. And why it is important? Because it is something, if a person is not spiritually inclined, that person cannot take care of it. That person cannot take this philosophy further. And this is something I think those of us who are planning to do research on Anandamurtiji's philosophy, we need to be specific about this, that the first impression or the first foundational approach towards which we need to work on is to work on his spiritual philosophy. Because, and with that only we can influence people, we can even motivate people to work on those areas. So, and this is why he was, though he himself was very specific about it, and this is why we have two sets of his writing that is pretty obvious. One is a spiritual developmental aspect, like Ananda Sutram and all, and an idea and the ideology. But there is another aspect of it which is shown in his philanthropic acts, which he did in his throughout his life, and for which he has been criticized immensely. His followers are being criticized immensely, for the philanthropic act which was done. Now, again, another issue which deliberately I want to raise here is that why spiritualism, why tantra, why this transcendental philosophy has been always looked down by whether it is the Western philosophy or even the so-called quote-unquote intellectuals of India. This is something I need an answer, at least from you learned scholars, because I need an answer, because this is something very fascinating, but yet it's a kind of taboo. The economically weak classes, socially isolated classes, so I do not want to use those words of Dalit or something, but then this is something is important. And the practice of morality, he says that it should be important as a subject of the syllabus, because we need to not only just say it as just to show off, but then we need to also teach it through our academic curriculum. And this is why with his foundational teachings, there are so many schools running across India and abroad following his ideal. But then my question is, how many of these organizations are actually producing another Anandamurtijii? Are they successful enough? Because this foundation, if the foundational teachings are there in those schools and colleges and the universities, so are they successful enough in creating another Anandamurtijii maybe for the 21st century, is the question we need to ask. And also the key of achieving the environmental sustainability. See, he did not only talked of educational sustainability, which is there, he is very hopeful that traditional Indian education system has that capacity to show to the world that yes, there is a philosophy which seems very spiritual, and it has a potentiality to change the world. So, and another aspect of it is in environment, like right from the Vedas, environment has been given utmost importance. And he says that the spiritual awakening of the individual self and its breaking of the bonds of attachment to the objects and the desires of the material world, that also comes, this environmental stability even comes with that spiritualism which is there in a self. So because that having an identity relationship, that even the I am a part of this universe and I am not the master of this universe. So he emphasizes that in education for sustainability, because it is only through education that sustainability could be established. Education does not mean a formal education, but education means awareness. Education means maybe transmitting the knowledge. And Professor Kapoor had already highlighted it enough that our tradition had that beauty, loaded value systems which could change the world. So if we talk of Indian education system, Indian knowledge tradition, not the education system which we have today, needs to be sustainable. And with this aim, perhaps he wanted to have his own philosophical things in the Anandamurti's foundational schools. So at least now, because when I look to our 2020, our new education policy, it is more towards making a machine which is ready to work in an industry. What about the developmental aspect of an individual? Of course, they have, just to show off, I think here and there it has been given that, okay, philosophy, mother tongue, cultural development, this development, that development. But then ultimately what we are making is something which we need to highlight. And what we are making, we are trying to make a machine which is ready to work in the industry. So in that case, what will happen to the capacity? What will happen to the individual development is something we need to think of. And the teleology of this whole education system, while reading this, is I found that it is to create a new geopolitical order. Now, geopolitics in itself is a big domain where I don't think I am any expert to speak. It says that it tries to be of and sustainability to the countries across the globe. Now, what do you mean by political autonomy and the sustainability? Now, these two terms sound very conflicting with each other, but then Anandamurtijii, this is where he comes into play. His philosophy comes into play. That how do you make a politically autonomous organization? He says it is only possible when you have this welfared idea. So one of the speakers said that it is the brotherhood, universal brotherhood. So this global neo-humanistic approach, which I find it posthumous possibility as well. So it is because it is not confined.
Compliment Sindhu. She is very young.
Thank you so much.
It's a very, very, very well researched and very analytical paper that she has presented. And she has taken great pains to go into the first-hand text and presented this. You have a great future. You have a great future. My best wishes and blessings.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Sir, you know about her? She has completed her PhD in philosophy department, Mumbai IIT.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I can imagine from hearing you today, her methodical presentation, and organization of the ideas and the argument. I should have guessed, in fact, that she must have done something in IIT.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very,
so
very
much.
nice hearing you. Yeah, Sindhu, बहुत बढ़िया. जीती रहो.
मुझे ब्लेसिंग्स चाहिए सर आपके. थैंक यू सो मच.
जीती रहो, खुश रहो.
जी.
जीती रहो, खुश रहो.
मैं आइडियाज प्रेजेंट कर पाई आप लोगों के सामने, अपने व्यूज शेयर कर पाई, यही मेरे लिए बहुत है सर. थैंक्स अ लॉट.
Very good command of language. You are a very good communicator, and you are a very good organizer of your
Thank you
thoughts.
so much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks again, Dr. Padyan. And now, with permission of the Samvad Prasad, I want to call our next speaker. So, sir, I'm calling, I'm inviting Dr. Shakuntala Gaude at University of Mumbai. So, Dr. Shakuntala Gaude, please.
Respected Kapurji, Chair Professor Gangadhar Pandaji, Chairperson Professor, and all other eminent speakers. My humble pranam to all. To Divya Chetananda Swamiji for giving me this opportunity to speak. Last time I had presented on the reflections of Indian philosophy in Anandamurtijii's philosophy. As I started reading Anandamurtijii's views on this, literally great ocean indeed was open to me. As a part of my PhD, I had studied Vedic literature and Western philosophy from eschatological point of view, which is connected with life, death, and life after death. So when I started reading about yoga and psychology as explored by Anandamurtijii, I was literally amazed. What a harmony and of the classical, all our classical text, our scriptures, and his experiential knowledge was really marvelous. I'll try to present just an outline of this particular topic, I will say. First of all, starting with yoga. The word yoga is derived from the root yuja. Patanjali defines yoga as chitta vritti nirodha. That is obstruction of chitta vrittis. Yoga is understood in Vyasa Bhashya by the root yuja in the sense of samadhi. Anandamurtiji understands the word yoga as yoga iti ukto jivatma paramatmanaha. It is a unique entity. Yoga effected by mixing sugar and salt is not spiritual yoga, but if sweet drink is made up of mixing sugar and water, then they become one. This is similar to spiritual yoga. In the sweet drink, one doesn't find a separate existence of sugar. Similarly, unification of Jivatman and Paramatman is context. One thing can be understood that yoga is not possible for atheist. One has to be theist to accept Jivatman and Paramatman. Anandamurtiji has given importance to Ashtanga Yoga, that is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. He gives scientific explanation of 8 limbs of yoga as associated with ultimate goal, that is liberation. He also emphasizes the importance of mudras and bandhas in the spiritual sadhana. Patanjali Yoga has the basis of psychology as it guides about obstructing about chitta vrittis. Yoga psychology is a term and spirituality, and its special reference to all the yoga sadhana. And he divides the psychology in main branches, which are general psychology, biopsychology, parapsychology, and apex or pinnacle psychology. In this, the later three, that is biopsychology, parapsychology, and apex or pinnacle psychology, historical perspective, because often they are a matter of confusion or ambiguity. And as far as it is seen, there is no scientific explanation is provided. But Anandamurtiji literally provides scientific explanation to all these phenomena. Anandamurtiji has elaborated on parapsychology. According to him, parapsychology is a science which links up our present life with our past lives. Basically, the word para is derived from the Greek word meaning besides, closely related to, beyond, or alongside. So, parapsychology is the branch of psychology, mental faculties. Still, parapsychology differs in many ways from the traditional branch of psychology because somewhere it goes beyond those empirical phenomena. So, Anandamurtiji has elaborated on the memory, the role of memory, past life, rebirth. This is actually the contribution of Anandamurtiji, that he bifurcates the cerebral memory and extracerebral memory. And he says that extracerebral memory is just because of causal mind. Child's mind being unacquainted with the outside world and a newborn brain being inexperienced, his or her crude mind does not function much. The experiences of crude mind are not reflected in the child's subtle mind. In the case of child, since the crude experiences are relatively few, the subtle mind remains tranquil. Thus, the waves of the causal mind easily surface in the child's subtle mind. As a result, the accumulated experiences of the child's previous life can be easily recollected. And therefore, he says that child can remember the past life at least for 5 years. As the crude mind of the child is not yet mature enough to work externally, the dream experiences are not expressed in the wakeful state. The extracerebral memory begins to fade after 5 years, and of course, the new impressions are recollected and gathered as child grows in new environment. Now, crude mind has new impressions which are reflected in dream state, vibrations of the causal mind anymore. Hence, the child more advances, more gains, more one forgets past life. Sometimes children remember their past life even after the age of 5. In this case, mind of the new body remains free from external environmental influences. It may remain active up to 12 years in some cases. If it continues even after that, then one may not survive because single body cannot tolerate the clash of past memories and present memories, that is clash of two minds. In this universe, he says, these impressions are intact. Like in Upanishads, it is said, the vasanas of the person remain intact. For many births, even in Yoga Sutras, it is referred to as karmashaya. Anandamurtiji also says that nothing is lost or destroyed. Person's hopes and frustrations remain stored in their subconscious mind. Due to restlessness of the crude mind and subtle minds, the causal mind cannot give expression to its omniscience. But all knowledge, past memories of previous lives are stored in sequential order in the causal mind, just like colorful panorama. One layer representing one life, followed by gap, followed by another layer representing another life, and so on. Human beings can get relief from these memories of past lives only by sadhana. Spiritual aspirants with their sadhana suspend their crude mind in the subtle mind in the causal mind. One gains full control over the time factor, then easily they can transcend the gaps between two lives and establish a link between them. After a long journey of 100 years, one begins to visualize the samskaras of past lives. This again said in Yoga Sutra, Drushta Drushta Janma Vedaniyaha, that such a sadhaka can know all drushta, visible and invisible worlds. According to Anandamurtiji, Parama Purusha can see even 10,000 or 20,000 years ago. For human beings to see into their past, they need the help of their nerve cells and nerve fibers. Parama Purusha can link up all the past lives of people because he has supra occult power. Only Parama Purusha has this power and no one else. He does not need the help of nerve cells or nerve fibers because everything exists in the cosmic mind. Therefore, Parama Purusha does not need to link up all the individual minds. Just by his will, he can see all the unit minds. Anandamurtiji also talked about parapsychological phenomena like death, afterlife, telepathy, clairvoyance, etc. He gives scientific explanation. For example, he asked a question: why ghosts are seen? Are ghosts always hallucinations? Scholars are of opinion that so-called ghosts are positive hallucinations, and sometimes people are misguided by negative hallucinations. They say that in this case, the optical vision, the optic nerves are deceiving them. But actually, the main role here is played by the thought waves, not by any physical organ or psychic cells or psychophysical cells, say Anandamurti. It is said that Abhibhavanat Preta Darshanam. The sight of ghost is created in concentrated thought. Abhibhavana means cellular suggestion, that which affects not only the mind but also the nerve cells, as a result of which fight takes place between nerve fibers and nerve cells. When the functioning of nerve fibers gets repeated, then a human being, not only human being, but many living beings, see something which is not present, or do not see something which is actually physically present. Physical entities are formed of five factors: solid, liquid, luminous, aerial, and ethereal. There may be some entities which do not require food or drink. An entity composed of solid or liquid factors will surely require food and drink, composed of other three factors, that is luminous, aerial, and ethereal. Without any solid or liquid, then that luminous body. Luminous bodies do not have body. It is not possible to see luminous body in bright daylight. It may be possible during the darkness of night, but then not any everywhere, but at particular places. So this is a scientific explanation of Anandamurtiji, which is based on science psychology. Then he says there are 7 kinds of luminous bodies: Yaksha, Gandharva, Kinnara. Combination of unfulfilled samskaras remains, which are always called as vasanas in our Upanishads and Indian philosophical text. Though the physical body is destroyed, mind cannot function. It remains in potential form. Now, in some circumstances, if the ectoplasm of a living person is associated with that disembodied potential mind, then that disembodied mind gets mental body temporarily for a very short time. Then that mental body can start functioning with the help of nerve cells and nerve fibers of that living person, but only for a few minutes. This is neither positive hallucination nor negative hallucinations, nor it is a luminous body. It is living persons. Ectoplasmic cells become the mental body of a dead person for a few minutes, until after a few minutes that mental body dies again. This mental body is called as Preshita Manasa, or the recreated mind. So thus the hallucinations, what we call as Anandamurtiji has given the psychological explanations of the same, having the in-depth knowledge of parapsychology. Then he has coined a term called apex psychology. What is this apex psychology? When the movement of the human mind is not in many lateral directions, north, south, east, west, but towards the supreme entity, then the mind becomes apexed, pinnacled. This pointed mind, which is called as ekagra in Yoga Sutra, either merges in the microcosm or gives up the individual existence in the supreme cognitive faculty. Yogis and biopsychologists prefer cold climates. Even now, yogis go to Himalaya for attaining siddhi. Ananda Marga sadhana is biopsychological practice. If in a particular life one performs sadhana but does not attain salvation, one will have to come back again. Under such circumstances, one may or may not remember one's past life, pituitary gland. Then, in the latter part, one's present life, if one's mind reaches the pineal gland, one will attain salvation. In case of Shiva, the pituitary gland is called Shiva's third eye, but it is actually his omniscience, through which he sees three ages, past, present, and future. This is biopsychological explanation of Anandamurtijii. If one is unable to attain salvation in particular life, one gets human body in next life and is guided by parapsychology. In the next life, one remembers up to the age of 13 or 14. Everything concerned with the past life is intact. But as soon as he says the testis gland or ovaries start to function, one generally forgets the past. As soon as one develops the sex gland, one develops attraction for earthly elements. If not, then attains the death at the age of 13 as one continues to remember the past life. Here the role of sadhana comes in. Ananda Murtiji has given yoga sadhana, as a means to attain the liberation and using these memories of past life in a very right manner. Here he has also identified the role of chakras. He asks, what is chakra? It is a collection of glands and subglands, and the location of these glands and subglands differs from animal to animal. In human, the chakras are situated Purmanadi and finally to the controlling brain cell. This is the process of withdrawal or pratyahara. So the term pratyahara, which is actually the process of withdrawal, is there in the Yoga Sutras, but it is explained in the form of with the help of chakras by Anandamurtiji. He says after this process, then one sadhaka visualizes panorama, the sound, the color, and focus on the object of meditation. This is the inner secret.
Madam, please unmute. Madam, please unmute.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
In order to visualize order, we should start from Muladhara Chakra. If it is uni-order, it will take less time. In case of multi-order object, it will take bit more time. In this way, one is to withdraw the mind and bring it to the particular brain cell inside the skull. It is necessary to know the biology of the human structure, but spiritual aspirants will not attain any importance to occult powers. It is not their goal. They will not attach they will only attach importance to the supreme entity, but not to occult powers. Every cell has a controlling point. The Sahasrara Chakra is a psychological name and the Guru Chakra is a physical name. The Sahasrara Chakra has no corporeal structure. Its spiritual location is on the outer portion of the cranium. In the Guru Chakra lies the potentiality of omniscience. Knowing supreme entity means knowing the secret of all the cells. So ultimate goal of yoga is samadhi, which means unification of the unit mind with cosmic mind, or merger of the unit mind into the cosmic mind. Ordinarily, the conscious mind performs physical actions through the sense organ, nerve cells, and nerve fibers, while subconscious performs thinking, recollections, and so on, and the unconscious is all knowing. In samadhi, all three chambers of the mind are fused into one. During samadhi, the mind remains full of knowledge. This is positive state. Though the mind remains inactive, still it is full of knowledge. Samadhi is not possible merely through one's own efforts. It is absolutely dependent on the grace of Paramatman. Anandamurtiji has rightly identified the role of bhakti and also the grace of God in the process of liberation. And to sum up, I will say yoga is very ancient shastra, which can be truly called as Bharatiya Manasa Shastra. Many scholars have tried to understand the psychological reflections from Yoga Sutras and different commentaries of Yoga Sutras. Anandamurtiji has rightly explicated the science of yoga through understanding of biopsychology, parapsychology, and apex psychology, giving them scientific basis. Thank you very much for patient listening.
Thank you, Madam Dr. Shakuntala Gadde. You have very nicely presented the philosophy on yoga and yoga psychology, propounded by Sri Anandamurtiji. You have emphasized on unification of soul and mind, mudras, Patanjali yoga, biophysical, biopsychological, parapsychological, and apex psychological aspects. And you have rightly pointed out the psychological explanation of hallucination given by Sri Anandamurtijii, and the seven types of the luminous bodies, their minute analysis and all that. And you have rightly emphasized on the role of sadhana, meaning to attain the liberation, and the role of chakras, and the ultimate goal of meditation is samadhi, that is the unification of mind and unit mind and cosmic mind unification. So this is the positive state, and thank you for deliberating such a in a nice way this important aspect of yoga psychology. Thank you, madam, for this. So with permission from yes, from our chairperson, Professor B. Samvad Prasad, I want to call upon invite our next learning speaker before you. That is, I want to invite Professor Surajul Islam, Department of Philosophy, Professor, Department of Philosophy and Comparative Religion, Vishwabharati Shantiniketan. Sir, please deliver your lecture, please, sir.
Am I audible, please?
Yes, yes, yes. You are audible, sir.
Thank you very much, Rineji. Respected Professor Kapil Kapurji, Professor Gangadhar Panda, my friend Professor Samvad Prasadji.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you so much, Professor Gopal Misroji, Dr. Sindhu Padwal, Dr. Shakuntala Gowde, my friend Sudhanshu Shekharji, Honorable Reverend Swamiji, distinguished scholars, brothers and sisters. Indeed, it is a very good occasion for us, really, an auspicious occasion for all of us. The theme of the seminar or webinar is related to the social philosophy and spirituality. So most of the learned scholars and presenters already have depicted their views. They have articulated various new aspects, and actually Sindhu Podwal presented a scholarly paper. Actually, I was in the selection meeting at Tripura University when Sindhu was the candidate, and I selected her. So it proves that I have chosen the right person. So now, come to the point. There's various aspects of Sri Anandamurtijii today already have been propounded by the learned speakers. So I would like to delineate something related to the social philosophical aspects or aspect of Sri Anandamurtijii, because Anandamurtijii as a practical, pragmatic personality, he has integrated both social and spiritual aspects. In his outlook, spirituality is not merely an alienation from the society. Spirituality will not be efficacious if it will not be applied on society. Human being is a social animal, and what their needs in Gaussian theory we know that human being constituted society through the process of social contract. However, for the benefit of himself or herself, and at the same time, not only confined the selfish attitude, but in transcending selfish attitude, we will integrate ourselves. As a renowned personality and versatile personality, Sri Anandamurtijii also propounded an integral approach. According to him, that humanity is basically is integrated into two. That is the external and internal aspects of life. Therefore, in his outlook, life is that which can maintain balance or poise between these two. Each and everything of the universe has two aspects. One is internal aspect, another is external aspect. But Sri Anandamurtijii make the balance between these two. And like other spiritual personalities or like other notable Indian scholars, he did not deviated from the existence of our society or world, because there are various views where we can see that the materialistic approach, those who say Brahma Mithya Jagata Sattam, whereas idealistic view, Brahma Satta Jagata Mithya. But in negating these two, Sri Anandamurtijii in Ananda Sutram, page 93, where Sutra is chapter 2, 14, Brahma Sattam Jagadapi Sattam Apekshikam. Brahma is real, Jagato is also real. But Brahma is absolutely real, whereas Jagata is relatively real. Because Brahma is immutable, infinite, uncreated, whereas Jagata is created, mutable, and it is subject to change. So in his outlook, if we would say that this Jagata, where we live, if we will not accept the existence of this phenomenal world and society, we must deny our own existence also. The logic is that if everything is illusion, then if Brahma is only real and everything is illusion, then the world is also illusion. And I am as an inevitable part of this world become illusion or subject to the part of illusion. Therefore, I am also in illusion. This is the conclusion, the logic that deduced by Sri Anandamurtijii. But the social philosophical aspect is basically an integral approach he suggested. Therefore, not like the materialistic approach on some other people, he also said, Na sargona rasatala. There is not heaven and no hell. In Ananda Sutram, chapter 2, verse number 20. Because there are many vikrito chittasya purvavastha praptira phala bhogo. Each and everybody we know in Gita's approach is there. Karmanivadhikaristu ma phaleshu kadachana. Karma fall, a fruit of the action, is inevitable. Therefore, as a human being, we have some sort of responsibility. And this responsibility is basically helps us to attain self-realization. It is the foremost duty of each and every human being to perform their duties. These duties are related to the social duties and moral duties, which are related to our moral obligations and responsibilities. According to Sri Sri Anandamurtijii, the world is not an illusion, but also the part of the Supreme Being. This absolute reality actually created this universe as a part of Him. In this aspect, all created beings are His children. In a broader aspect, because all are the part of one cosmic family, whether sentient or non-sentient beings, all are His creation. Hence, they are also the children of Him. Therefore, to neglect this society, social needs, the existence of this mundane world, equally, it will be treated as the negligence of this society, which would hamper our individual progress, because one would be regulated by the very nature of this society. He would neglect the loving attitude of supreme reality. Rather, in Sri Sri Anandamurtiji's aspect, it will be much more better to say that the subjective and objective enterprise, this is the fulfillment of human progress. This is very important, because the external and internal, higher and lower, that means the supreme absolute or supreme authority and the relative authority, both are integrated in his outlook. So it is the balance between the spiritual as well as social aspects. Like Tagore, Tagore said, তোমায় আমায় মিলন হলে সকলই যাই খুলে, তোমায় আমায় মিলন হলে সকলই যাই খুলে, বিশ্বসাগর ঢেউ খেলায়ে উঠে তখন দুলে, তোমার আলোয় নাই তো ছায়া, আমার মাঝে পাই সে কায়া. That means, he also said, আমি নইলে তোমার প্রেম হতো জমিছে. That is the social aspects, mundane aspects, my existence, not only confined to supernatural existence. If everything is so supernatural, then there is no moral principle, and religious principles are all are meaningless. Therefore, the moral obligation, according to Sri Sri Anandamurtijii, these are highly important, and they are the principles already articulated by Dr. Podwell, that the foremost duties of proud, and where related the sattva, ahimsa, asteya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. These are the cardinal virtues. Even Gandhiji also followed it. So these are the essential part of self-realization. So spirituality is deeply entangled with the concept of society, existence of society. The subjective and objective enterprise is the fulfillment of human progress, where social and spiritual progress are integrated as a whole. Because it helps for the personal development, is essential for the fulfillment of life. It is the process of, through the process of meditation, which generates selfless service towards all, irrespective of any caste, creed, and religion. Because in Ananda Sutram, the notion of social philosophy is prevalent, where Sri Anandamurtiji says, Samajo desha nabina dhano sanchaya akritabba. That means without the consciousness or samaja uddesya bina. That means without the consciousness of any social consciousness and social benefit, the wealth, whenever it will be accumulated, it will not be moral. Similarly, in the chapter 5 of Ananda Sutram, verse number 11, Sarvani Manav Dharmanam Samaja Jiva Lakkhanam. This is very important, because increasing the maximum standard of living of the people is the indication of the validity of the society. Because the society formulated by human beings for their own benefit, and they have some basic requirements. Roti, kapda or makan, generally we are saying. But Sri Anandamurtiji, in his book Idea and Ideology, where he said, whether you are a seer or a human being, above all you are a human being, so you will have some sort of responsibilities, and that responsibilities you will have to perform. That is samajadeshana veda dhano sanchaya kritabba. Because it is the necessity, prayojana. In this chapter, verse number 9, he said, Yugosya sarva nimna prayojanam. Sarve samaviddam. That is, the minimum requirements are to be granted by all. As a human being, minimum requirements are to be granted. Because, and at the same time, akritam pradattabhyam gunanupateno. That means, this is the chapter 5 and verse number 10, surplus wealth should be distributed among the people according to their merit of degree. That means not all people requirements are same. Some are very poor, some are below poverty line, some are partially needful, and some are so surplus wealth, that is related to aparigraha. Only minimum requirement you will have to fulfill, and rest you will distribute among the people, needy people, poor, needy, and destitute. This is the pragatishila hitam. In verse number 16 of same chapter, 5th chapter, pragatishila upojoga sarvajana hitam. The concept of bahujano hitayo and bahujano sukhayo here is also impregnant in the sayings of Sri Anandamurtiji. That is pragatishila upojoga sarvajanam hitam. Chapter 5, verse number 16. All these are highly related to human beings, what action human being will have to perform, because karma follow is inevitable. And this is from the sthula to sukha karoneshu, sthula sukha karoneshu upajogo prokartava vichara samarthitam vantanascha. That is jagotik and ati jagotik. That is the mundane and supramundane. Primal cause factor maximum utilization should be done strictly without the deviation of rational judgment, supported by conscience, to be distributed. And that to be distributed, that means the vasti samasti sarira manaso adhyattik sambhavanam charamo upajogacha. That is means individual and collectively related to body and mind. Potentiality needs to utilize it in a maximum mode. Ananda Sutram, chapter 5, verse number 14. The liberal attitude of Sri Sri Anandamurtijii, which is very vital, is that the diversity is the best mode of him. He accepted diversity. According to him, diversity is much more essential and much more needful for the society rather than unity. Because diversity, it is the law of nature. But we the people, we actually assimilated our diversity and laid emphasis upon identity. But identity is impossible without diversity. Generally, in one aspect, we are all. From another aspect, we are all different. That's why the integral outlook, from inner aspect, we are all one. From external aspects, bodily aspects, all we are different. So diversity and identity, both are reciprocally related to one another. Purna avartanana parikranti. That is, it helps to complete rotation of the social cycle, which is called peripheric evolution, according to Sri Sri Anandamurtijii. He utilized this term, peripheric evolution. Prakriti and Purusha is the cause of the evolution of creation. But there is the cycle, social cycle is called peripheric evolution, the term used by Sri Sri Anandamurtijii. So reversing the movement of the social cycle by application of force is called the counter-evolution. Shakti sampateno viparitityo dharmasya vikranti. That is Shakti sampateno viparitityo dharmam vikranti. Located in the nucleus of the social cycle, that sadvipra, or central, the social cycle of all things. So it is very important, this movement of the social cycle, one class is always dominant, but located in the nucleus, chakra kendro, sadvipra chakra niyantrako. As a human being, whether you are seers or sages or vipra, so located in the nucleus of the social cycle, where he will perform activities, where he will be meditated. So society, how society will or world will be neglected. That's why located in the nucleus of the social cycle, Sadvipra, located in the, located, important in his social philosophy. Fraternity for all creatures and all creation. It is not for just human beings, but for animals and plants too. Material and spiritual balance, harmony is extremely needed, because in his, with quote, it is the cosmic ideal alone which will unify humanity, unquote. One who realizes the unity in diversity can feel the love for everything. Every created being will be developed in transcending all apparent or superficial differences. then he will not be confined in a superficial differences, whether you are Hindus or Muslims or Christian or Jains or downtrodden.